Hey. Hey, look at that. You got the waterman, man. Let's go. Come get y'all some fresh watermelon from off the truck. He drive all the way down to Mississippi and get this.
Oldest and scope has played in fueling this toxic relationship between myself and the Board of Trustees.
Kwame Raoul, the Illinois Attorney General. You have known for quite some time what is happening in the village of Dolton under the iron fist of Tiffany Henyard. Unfortunately, you have chosen to ignore them. I don't understand why. I don't know your motives, but you have allowed this woman to make a mockery of your office, your area, your state. And now it is election time. Let's take a look back and see just when they all started reaching out to you.
What you stated is, everyone knows, these concerns started actually many months ago when the board was locked out of the village hall and had to go ahead and hold your meeting on the sidewalk outside of the village hall. Since that time, there's been nothing but meetings held by Zoom. There have been no in-person meetings, and throughout the months, there have been many instances where people have not been allowed to be invited into the meeting. They've been invited to the meeting and not brought into the meeting via Zoom, or they've been muted during the meeting, or they've been kicked out of the meeting. The board.
Attorney McGrath has listed many of the reasons of what brought the Village Board of Trustees to this point. Now, pay close attention to what Attorney McGrath says next.
The board requested me to bring this to the attention of the Attorney General's office, which we asked for an investigation. I spoke with an assistant from the Attorney General's office 3 or 4 months ago. They said they were going to look into it and ask for a response from the village. I've never received any type of response, or I don't know what the response was from the mayor or the village. And the issues have continued since reaching out to the Attorney General's office. As Trustee House stated, this is the second meeting in a row where the village board is holding a special meeting, or posted a special meeting notice and agenda, which is proper under the Illinois Municipal Code. They have provided the Zoom information to all elected officials, department heads, and all legal teams involved with the village. And they've also set up a YouTube channel, which has been blasted out to the residents of the village of Dolton in an effort to be completely transparent with everyone. The village board is not trying to take control away from the mayor. I've received a number of emails from various attorneys that are involved with the village, and they've been citing to the Illinois Municipal Code that the mayor is to preside over the meetings. And I responded that the board is not taking that role away from the mayor. Obviously, the mayor was invited to this meeting. If the mayor joins this meeting as mayor, she could preside over this meeting, but apparently she has chosen not to join this meeting. The agenda that has been posted by the mayor was properly posted, but without the village board being at that meeting, there's not going to be a quorum, so that meeting won't take place. I've also suggested that the Zoom information that Trustee Steve has set up, along with the YouTube information that Trustee Steve has set up, be put onto the regular village board agenda. That way, everyone, again, would be invited, and there would be assurance that no one would be muted. Everyone that's invited would be allowed into the meeting and to participate. All the residents would have access to the YouTube and be able to comment without being censored during the meeting. And obviously the mayor would preside over that meeting, and still they don't want to agree to that. So for the time being, I think the village board is just going to have to continue on conducting village business by a special meeting. And as a final note, I advised the mayor and the other attorneys that we could avoid all of this if we just go back to in-person meetings, which a majority of the municipalities in the Southland and throughout Cook County have gone back to doing. They're all meeting in person. The COVID restrictions have been loosened up. The mask mandate is no longer in place. You could still take precautions. People could still wear masks if they're concerned, but there really is no reason not to have in-person meetings. And that would allow the residents to see the elected officials perform their task as elected officials. The mayor would preside over that meeting, and it would avoid all these issues. But what you're doing currently is legal and proper. It's unfortunate that the mayor has chosen not to join your meeting, and it's also unfortunate that the mayor hasn't decided or accepted the other Zoom and YouTube information to put on the regularly posted village agenda. We wouldn't be in this situation if the mayor would just cooperate with the village board. So it's unfortunate, but this is a legal meeting, and you can proceed.
Next, you will hear Trustee Belcher asking the residents to reach out to the Attorney General. She tries to put emphasis on just how badly they are in dire need for help, for leadership. But you, Mr. Raoul, you ignored them.
Can I be recognized?
Of course, Trustee Belcher.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, once again, it's very difficult that we have gotten to this point where we're doing separate meetings. I would be remiss to say if I didn't chime on to the other meeting just to see what was being said, because I'm truthful about everything. And for our mayor to constantly get on and state that we're not doing things legal and improper is a total shame and an embarrassment to the community. What I want to say in general announcements, though, is that over the last couple of days, I have received several calls in reference to the mayor's new appointment, and I urge everyone that already see what's going on in the village of Dolton. So if you have concerns, contact Attorney General Kwame Raoul and also the state's attorney's office and write a letter in reference to what your concerns is. At this point, we can legally do anything. And I know that a lot of constituents have been contacting us, but as you guys can see right now, for the village of Dolton is in dire need of help, in dire need of true leadership that's going to move us forward so we can continue to do what we need to do. It's 5 of us on here, so we're in the right space to make a move to do what we need to do to bring the village forward and keep doing the things do. But we can't do it if we're balled and chained by someone who doesn't want to work with us and compromise. So I apologize to the citizens, the residents, for us have to go through this again, but we took an oath to make sure that we did what was legal, ethical, transparent, and we're all being held accountable for these actions. So we urge you, as she said, contact us, contact the state's attorney's office and the attorney general in reference to things that's going on. Thank you.
We have heard the pleas from the legislative attorney, Mike McGrath, Kiana Belcher. Now let's hear another elected official, Clerk Allison Key, who also had reached out to the Attorney General. Let me remind you, I am merely showing you how and when these people started to reach out to you. This was in April of 2022. I can't imagine why you wouldn't come to their aid.
Clerk Key, have you contacted the Attorney General's office on what is going on with the FOIA request?
The Attorney General, I've seek legal counsel, and the legal counsel has sent communication to the Attorney General office in reference to FOIAs that are not being complied with. So the Attorney General's office is very much aware of what's going on in Dolton right now with FOIAs.
Okay. The next one is there an Illinois or federal governing body that's over the village of Dolton that the citizens can go to and file a complaint?
Cook County State's Attorney and Illinois Attorney General Kim Fox's office and Kwame Raoul.
You see, there are plenty of times where you've been called upon, and Mr. Kwame Raoul, you ignored this situation for years now. But if that wasn't enough, let's hear Tiffany Henyard herself say that they've submitted several complaints to your office.
What are we doing as relates to fighting back? We have done the following. We have 7 public access counselor complaints, and what that consisted of is we basically contact a request for opinions to the Illinois Attorney General office citing violations of Open Meeting Act for fake meetings that the trustees has held. I know you guys have heard that the trustees have their own agenda on meeting, and they have held that for the last several months. And you guys know how government is structured. Government structure where the mayor leads the meeting and the board of trustees attends the meeting. Currently now, the board of trustees has a separate meeting from our already scheduled board meetings, which is on the first and third Monday of every single month. So you should ask your board of trustees, why are you neglecting your duty as trustee to attend the meeting and take care of the business at hand, which is taking care of residents, paying the corporate bills, taking care of ordinances, doing things that they should be doing instead of fighting with their mayor. Right now, currently, we are at a deadlock as it relates to things getting done in the community that I cannot do if I don't have certain votes to move the village forward, but certain things I can do as the CEO of the village to make sure things are getting done as it relates to department heads, public works especially. Next, lawsuits have been filed in appropriation actions involving election rules violations. Also, pending voter rights and civil rights violation lawsuits and litigations to follow the role the trustees, legislative council, Alderson and Stoke has played in fueling this toxic relationship between myself and the board of trustees.
That was the elected officials in the village of Dolton, requesting your opinion on what they have been living through since this woman took seat, that you failed to acknowledge. Next, let's look at an example of what Tiffany Henyard thought was perfectly legal for her to do.
Evening, everyone. I kind of have a lot to report, but I'm going to try to sum it up as quick as possible. Fire committee meeting in the last 2 months. The last time we had a fire committee meeting, we had been in the process of approving 2 firefighters since October. It was time for those firefighters to get sworn in, and because of the dysfunction in our administration right now, the 2 gentlemen that were scheduled to be hired as firefighters, who had complete all of the pre-employment process, have been placed on hold. It's an embarrassment that I see that a police and fire commission has been established without the board approval. After several times, there were multiple conversations about those people that are on the board and the legitimacy of the board. But I would like all of the Dolton residents to know you elected a clerk. The clerk is the record keeper, and she also swears in people for their oaths. The oaths were sworn in by the township clerk, which I'm sure our clerk cannot go to anybody else's town and swear people in. So there is illegal, and those commissioners are not actively, appropriately legal, once again, by the administration, not the board of trustees, because they were not approved. Also, one person that sits on that board does not, well, 2 people does not live in the village of Dolton, which the requirements of the police and fire commission are to live in the village of Dolton. Now, I say this to say that I am in total support that we need a police and fire commission, because we need police officers. Police officers are retiring. Police officers are moving to other communities that they may work in, but to blatantly disrespect and continue to do things illegally is a slap in the face, not only to the board, but to the residents, because you're preventing the citizens for proper public safety. You're preventing us from having, anybody can get on YouTube and talk every other week, and they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. And yes, I have watched the meetings. And the other slap in the face is myself, and I would even say Trustee Holmes, have not been invited to either one of those meetings. I am the fire committee chair. He is the police committee chair. And neither one of us have been invited to these shenanigan shows that's being placed on YouTube every couple of weeks. So I would like to say that I publicly know that we need a police and fire commission, but the way that it has been done illegally, once again, shows that at this point, I believe that our mayor and some of the employees should be charged with malfeasance. I'm sure she don't know what that means, but I'm sure she'll look it up when she is intentionally doing things wrong. Now, moving forward, we will have a board fire committee meeting next month. Well, April, this is April, so the end of April. But our goal is to make sure that everything that we do, we're doing it legally and in a proper fashion, because we know we need officers, police officers. We know we need additional firefighters. And we also know that we have extended ourselves to put the ESDA program back in place. And we have potential people that are ready to become ESDA workers. So we'll have that additional support on the street. So I'm just asking that we put things in place so we can get things done. That's going to be the end of my report for committee. I'm sorry I couldn't speak in general announcements. It was a lot in my background. Mayor Pro Tem.
Police and Fire Board of Commissioners. He will give a report. Stand. Stand.
Thank you, Mayor. This is honor to stand before all you ladies and gentlemen and residents of the village of Dolton. It's kind of been my forte. I've been fortunate to win the election to be a board member with District 205.
Speak in the mic.
Yes, ma'am. I could be a board member on District 205, school board of Thornridge, Thornwood, and that is a volunteer position where you do not get paid. So I just followed those steps again, and I was fortunate to be appointed to be on a Police Fire Commissioner Board. That's a non-paid position.
Wow.
It's volunteer work to be on the board, to be a commissioner over the fire and police. So anyone here that knows about being a volunteer, you spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of your money, you do a lot of work being a volunteer. But it's a position that I really enjoy doing because we actually had the opportunity, just as the mayor said, we was able to scroll down that list and pull up 2 African-American firemen for the village of Dolton, in which now we're looking to scroll that list, put a list together for our police department. That's something that we need in the morning. So thank you, Mayor and resident, that support a volunteer police and fire commissioner board for the village of Dolton, because it hasn't been in process in over 3 years. We haven't had an active board in over 3 years. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have an active board for the Police and Fire Commission, and we're looking to, and possibly had opportunity to meet 2 of the firemen, and it's a good possibility they're going to move to Dolton. So that's actually for us getting on the Police Fire Commission board. So I want to thank you for that opportunity to do that. And it's been a long time coming. So it's a lot of good things coming forward this year, village. So I just ask that the mayor and the trustees get that link together and work for us. Because right now, having 2 meetings, I'm not paying for 2 meetings. I'm a taxpayer with 31 years out in the village of Dolton. And it's unfair for my dollars to be stretched in 2 different meetings. Because we voted for the Dream Team. And I was one of the workers for the Dream Team. And I don't appreciate the Dream Team that woke up and turned into a nightmare. Because I voted for one man. I didn't vote for 2 meetings to have a pro tem man. For what? We got a man. The support, elections come around every 2 years in the village of Dolton. Every 2 years, election comes around. So put your big boy clothes on and run for that position. But don't hide behind being a pro tem man. And we got a man that the people voted for. Stop picking our dollars and misappropriating, because that's what's happening right now. And it's unfair to us as residents. So give us our dollar worth so we can enjoy our town like the surrounding suburbs are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, let's have a look at the way the trustees did their best to compromise and keep order, while Tiffany Henyard, was only interested in her power and her authority, her way or the highway. And it was all okay because the people above her who were responsible for checking her actions and behavior were too busy to dedicate any time to the village of Dolton. Sadly. Unfortunately.
On to the next item, which is a discussion of possible action regarding a resolution appointing membership of the Board of Police and Fire Commission. Again, this one is Mayor Henyard and Attorney Vaselli. On this item, I would say, and I know this is one that has been discussed several times with a one-sided narrative. For myself, I think that this was one that, of course, it takes the appointment of the mayor along with the confirmation of the board. As a board member, I've made requests and suggestions that it should be inclusive of all board members and community members. I know Trustee Brown mentioned at a previous meeting that there are some very qualified individuals that she had been in touch with and other board members as well. So a compromise offer has been made to the mayor to construct a board of 3 members of her choosing and 2 members that the board would select as well, feeling that would be a adequate compromise. To date, that compromise offer has not been accepted. And that's part of the reason that we hold to a kind of a stalemate position. Getting the feeling on this one that there will not be a motion, but I will entertain a discussion from any board member that has comment. Any comments?
I mean, really not a comment, Mayor Pro Tem. Again, I think that's fair that the mayor chooses 2 and it's 6 trustees. So it's 3 more candidates. And out of the 6 of us, I'm sure that each one of us could come up with someone collectively to fill those 3 vacancies. So again, I think it's fair to give her 2 spots and to give us 3 spots. And then again, I know people are saying that a person doesn't have to have experience, but I think in police and fire, they should have some type of background because you are making some sound decisions. And I think that candidate should have some type of sound background in police and fire.
Thank you very much for that, Trustee Brown. Any additional comments? Okay, hearing none. Just want to pause and make sure, was anybody going to motion that? I want to make sure that's clear on the record.
You see, Mr. Raoul, you failed the people of the village of Dolton, but it is not too late. She is still governing over Thornton Township. Please step in. Looking at your social media pages, it seems that many are asking the same of you.
I'm the father of a 24-year-old Black woman who's in law school right now, and I want to.
And a reminder to you all from Tiffany Henyard herself.
History Month, and I've always said women rule the world. Yeah, women rule the world. And I want